Islamic dietary law distinguishes between permissible and prohibited. Food and beverages are indeed very crucial in daily life. It is interesting to note that halal food and beverages are in high demand around the world, resulting in the increased sales and distribution methods. According to Food and Beverages Market Overview, the global sector has expanded by over USD 400 billion during the period of 2015 to 2020. Food is a topic that has always sparked debate among scholars. In order to clarify the fatwa on food and beverages, this paper discusses elements in food such as genetically modified food, GMF, food additive, alcohol emulsifier, utensil, food coloring, purified water, and gelatin. The objective of this paper is to investigate the issues raised by ambiguous ingredient sources in Malaysian food and beverages, also to highlight the application of Islamic legal medicine on related issues, and the last objective is to analyze the viewpoint of scholars and the fatwa on the underlying principles of what constitutes halal and haram in food and beverages. The paper indicates there is a significant need for guidance from religious bodies in form of the fatwa of any issue pertaining to food and beverages products.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Nurul Izzah Binti Mahbob. I will present about the fatwa consumption on the genetically modified food. Genetically modified food are undergone genetic engineering to change or alter the structure and genes. It changes the genes from the animal and plants. So genetically modified food are more economical in perspective of the economy, and it is more nutritious than original of animal and plants. In terms of the potential hazards linked with the genetically modified foods, the Al-Quran has established a number of dietary guidelines. Allah the Almighty said, translation, it's of the thing which God had provided for you lawful and good, but fear God in whom you believe. We might deduct from these verses that Allah commands us to eat not just halal but also a good food. As a result of this Quranic verse, it's also refrained from regularly consuming any foods or beverages that contain chemical substances, additives that may harm our bodies. However, there is no scientific proof that genetically modified foods are hazardous to human health. As a result, no claims about genetically modified foods posing health risks have been empirically established. From the fatwa of the genetically modified food was discussed 95 discourse at the Fatwa Committee, Fatwa National Council Islamic Affairs Malaysia at the 16th and 18th June 2011. The discourse held the views that Islam more demands to the poor and halal food, and the discourse also agreed that the use from the prohibited and the material that can bring the harmful of the human that produced from the genetically modified food are forbidden. Next, the ruling point, the Indonesian Ulama Council, MUI, at the number 35, the year of 2013, state the consumption of genetically modified food is permitted and mubah as long as the sources is come from the halal and not bring the harmful to the human and is not used from the genes of human body parts. In conclusion, between the Fatwa Committee of the National Fatwa Council for Islamic Religious Affairs Malaysia and Indonesian Ulama Council, MUI Indonesia, there are some similarities in terms of the use of genetically modified food. The hukum of use genetically modified food is must, which is mubah and permitted, but must under the condition which is must be sourced from halal, not harmful to humans and the environment, and the production process must not use from human body genes part. Okay, next is food additive. Food additive is not normally produced by food itself or normally not used from the typical ingredient food itself. It is also expected as directly or indirectly that produced by the food. So basically, the issues of the use sources from the plasma as a food additive is one of the sensitive issues to the Islam. So basically, the use of the plasma as a food additive is prohibited. It is because it's come from the blood. The prohibition of the spill of blood is always mentioned and that state in from the Quran, As-Sunnah and Qawaid Fiqhiyah, which is whatever is conducive haram, it is self haram. So basically, the fatwa decision unanimously agreed that the prohibited of the spill of blood. According to National Council for Islamic Affairs Malaysia at the 10th until 11th February 2015, It states the trans-glutaminase enzyme from animal plasma sources is prohibited because it's same with other substances like a whey protein, and while it can perform the same function as a plasma sources. According to the Indonesian Ulama Council MUI, at the 10th of October 2018, it also state that the blood is under falls a category of the daman masfuha, which is spill out blood, and it is prohibited for the Muslim. Included the alternative of the food product, beautification purpose or medication purpose. However, is have one of alternative and can be tolerable necessities if have the difficulties such as musyaqqah for the medical treatment and want to preserve the human being life. That state in the legal maxim, which is a darurah tubihul mahzura, which means necessity may authorize forbidden. The use of animal plasma as a source of food additive is prohibited because it is originated from spill out blood. The prohibition spill out of blood from Al-Quran in verses Al-An'am 145. Then the fatwa decision that unanimously agreed the prohibition of spill blood. Fatwa issued by National Fatwa Council Malaysia on the 7th and 8th of March 1990, the 26th, and Indonesia Ulama Council MUI by 10th of October 2018. But the use of animal plasma is permissible for the medication treatment or the alternative to replace in order to preserve the life of the human beings. This is in line with the Islamic legal maxim, which means necessity may authorize forbidden act.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Sakinah Nadhirah Binti Haji Rahim, and I will be explaining on the issue of alcohol. As you all know, alcoholic beverages has become part of the routine of some population and is widely used in certain cultures. It's also used in beverages and even in cooking certain types of food, such as in ice cream, chicken, and soup. So, what is alcohol? It is a colorless flammable liquid that is produced by the process of natural fermentation of sugar, which causes the intoxicating effects of wine, beer, and other alcoholic beverages. It is also used as industrial solvent and as fuel. Meanwhile, in the Islamic perspective, the Arabic term for alcohol is known as khamar, the only type of intoxicating substance that is specified in the Al-Quran. It can affect the conscience of the person who consumes it and is able to dull one's mind and senses. According to the Fatwa of Indonesian Ulama Council 2018, one of the Islamic legal maxim that support the prohibition of alcohol is preventing evil is better than attracting benefits. This legal maxim is used in a situation where a question arises as both benefits and dangers coexist, and according to this legal maxim, it is preferred that the evil should be avoided over gaining its benefit. This legal maxim can be further supported by the Quranic verse, which is the Surah Al-Baqarah 219, in which this verse stands as evidence that if evils and benefit coexist, then we should steer off from the evil by avoiding from seeking its benefit. As stated by Prophet Mohammed ﷺ, narrated by Al-Bukhari and Muslim, if I ask you to do something, do it as much as you can. But if I forbid you from something, you should refrain from it. Based on this text, it clearly shows that avoiding from committing evil is better than gaining its benefit. For this video, our group focuses the fatwa in this matter by referring to the special muzakarah of the National Council Fatwa Committee for Malaysia's Islamic Religious Affairs 2011 and the Indonesian Ulama Council 2018. The first issue is regarding the ruling of alcohol in beverages. From both of the Fatwa Committee, it can be seen that alcohol that is produced through a process that is different from the process of making alcoholic beverages, its consumption is allowed by both Fatwa Committee, but with different alcohol content percentage, where it must be under 1% in Malaysia and under 0.5% in Indonesia. The next issue is regarding the ruling of alcohol in food. To put it simply, both Fatwa Committee prohibits the consumption of food that contain alcohol that is made through the process of making liquor. They also have the same opinion on the food products that contain alcohol that is not produced with the intention of making liquor, in which they both permit its consumption. Lastly, the ruling of alcohol that is used as flavoring. From both of the Fatwa Committee, it can be seen that both Fatwa Committee have the same ruling on the consumption of products that uses alcohol as flavoring, where they permitted its consumption as long as the final products contain less than 0.5% of alcohol and does not bring harm to its consumer. Both Fatwa Committee prohibits the consumption of alcohol if it is made with the intention of making alcoholic beverages. However, both Fatwa Committee also stated that the alcohol that is produced not for making liquor that is used in food and beverages products are permissible for consumption as long as the alcohol content in the end product does not exceed the percentage, where it must be under 1% in Malaysia and 0.5% in Indonesia.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Syakirah Binti Fadzil. Let's continue for another subtopic, which is an emulsifier. Emulsifier is one of the food additives as it enables the mixing between the oil and water that enhance the food quality, which source from a fat and oil that might derive from the animal like a pig and cow, and also from plants such as olive and grape seeds. Moreover, according to Dr. Mohammad emulsifier is the critical ingredient which arises doubtful among consumers. Then, Farah Azura had explained there are two main aspects that need to be emphasized if the food additive is from the animal source, which is firstly is to ensure the animals is not categorized as prohibited in Islam, and secondly is any animal that is permissible has to ensure the animals has been slaughtered according to the Islamic law. It corresponds as mentioned in the Al-Quran, its translation, so eat of that meat upon which the name of Allah has been mentioned if you are believers in his verses. Besides, Imam Al-Ghazali has stated it is permissible to consume all types of plants except that can damage the human mind or health, such as marijuana. As written in the Handbook of Halal Food Production, the source from the halal slaughtered animals is permissible to be consumed. Hakim had mentioned emulsifier source is not necessarily derived from pig only, it can come from the synthetic fatty acids that derive from natural source. In addition, Halal Research Council also stated it is permissible to consume the emulsifier if it is from the halal slaughtered animal or plant sources. Besides, Dr. Yanti Norziana had mentioned most of the productions of emulsifier in Malaysia is made from palm oil compared with other countries that might from soy or lard. Next, issue related to the emulsifier, which is the halal Indian ice cream contains pig fat. In July 2019, the company of Ahmad were boycotted in their country due to the spreading of the video. Throughout the video, an Indian man has claimed the Ahmad ice cream contains ingredients of emulsifier, which under code E471 is made from pig fat. However, the claims was false. Ahmad had released a statement to clarify that the company only produces vegetarian-based product, which is their emulsifier and stabilizers 100% off from the plant source only. Besides, the company is the highest certification holder certified by Jamiat Ulama Halal Foundation, which recognized by HFCB under Hakim. Referring to the discussion, the emulsifier is permissible in halal to be consumed as long as the consumer knows the source of ingredients, which is derived from the halal animal or plant source. As stated by the State Mufti of Brunei, the permissibility and prohibition of emulsifiers are depend on the ingredients.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Afiqah Binti Roslan. I'm looking forward to talking with you today about utensil. According to the Indiana State Department of Health under sanitary standards, utensil is a food contact implement, container used in the storage, preparation, transportation or service of food such as kitchenware, tableware, gloves or food temperature measuring devices. Halal does not only pertain to food ingredients, but includes anything that comes into contact with all food processes and operations, particularly in utensils used to serve Muslim customers. Hakim places a high value on the quality aspects in order to meet the halal certification requirements. The point is, products should adhere to strict hygiene practices, especially when it comes to managing halal quality of utensil application. To the Trade Description Order 2011, which is food and beverages services are considered halal if this procedure are efficient, which is must be prepared or processed using utensils which are free from filth according to Islamic laws. It has been reported at the Sina Harian that questioning the ruling of using utensils that have been used by non-Muslims. Any utensils derived from non-Muslims used like which are then used for food and drinks must be thoroughly researched and argued in terms of their legal status. Moreover, Syekh Mohamad Al-Jazlani stated that one must be vigilant when non-Muslims use utensils to cook food prohibited in Islam, such as pork. According to Al-Kafi Al-Fatawi, the issue pertaining to use utensils by non-Muslims, the origin of utensil is sahih. If there is an ordinary dirty at the utensil, just wash using water, and it is mandub referring to a hadith Sahih Al-Bukhari, which is narrated Abu Salabah Al-Husni. Translation: I said, "Oh Allah's Messenger, we are living in a land inhabited by the people of these creatures. Can we take our meals in their utensils?" He said, "If you can get utensils other than theirs, do not eat in theirs. But if you cannot get other than theirs, wash them and eat in them." It may be instructive to understand that the Prophet Muhammad SAW and his companions had meals cooked by their pagan relatives and friends, avoiding only those food prohibited in Islam. However, if it is clearly seen tainted by haram dishes such as pork, then the utensils need to do ritual cleansing. It is supported by Al-Kafi Al-Fatawi number 1190 regarding the issue living with non-Muslim family. According to Shafi'i philosophy, it is permitted to utilize containers that have been used by non-Muslim and whose purity is guaranteed. It is makruh to use something if one is unsure about its purity, based on an excerpt of verse 5 from Surah Al-Ma'idah, which means, "And the food of those who were given the scripture is lawful for you, and your food is lawful for them." It can be interpreted to mean that the meal is cooked by their hands and served with their utensils. It follows that their dishes are lawful as well. As a result, the prohibition is makruh rather than haram.
Whereas my main point regarding utensil is any tabarware of the Hanbali viewpoint hold that ritual cleansing isn't a requirement but encouraged. But Police Mufti said as long as the food is halal, Muslim is allowed to use the container. However, it is permissible who is committed to Mazhab Shafi'i to taklid with another mazhab due to difficulties that are not burned by custom. For instance, with regard to food and beverage services, the customer of hotel that serve alcohol can use the utensils such as long as it is clean.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Ahmad Alif Hakimi bin Mohammad Najihan. I would like to talk about the food coloring. Food coloring is addition to food that make it more appealing and enjoyable to eat. There is an issue about the food coloring, which is the halal status about coconut coloring. The usage of the insect is permissible according to Imam Malik and Abu Hanifah. Since there are a species of animal with no blood flow, the usage of this insect as a source of color is not detrimental to people and contains no toxic substance. Based on the initial way in Islamic law, the origin of all tin is a harus. It can be utilized as long as it does not cause damage and it is properly governed. The related legal magazine about this issue, Ad-Doro Yuzal, harm is to be eliminated. This magazine emphasizes the purpose of the Sharia and their actualization and realization by way of deterrence or preventive measure of their occurrence. Islam emphasizes the protection of human life. It does not prohibit us from consuming the food that contains food coloring. As a result, any food coloring that considered to be harmful to the body should be avoided. However, if a food that contains food coloring is followed by instruction of FDA, there is nothing wrong with consuming it while ensuring that one's life protected and no harm. There is an argument fatwa. In Malaysia, members of the National Council for Islamic Religious Affairs Malaysia Fatwa Committees conclude that the use of kami coloran produced from female beetle or coconut is permitted. It follows good manufacturing practice in terms of safety. The committee takes into account the consensus of acknowledged by majority of Muslim scholars that coconut is a non-spill out blood animal and hence its blood is clean and may be used as a halal natural colorant. Meanwhile, in Malaysia, the MUI Fatwa use the Qiyas approach in their arguments. The MUI Fatwa, like Malaysia's, include scientific testimony such as the testimony of the Food, Medicine and Cosmetic Research Board, MUI, at the Fatwa Commission meeting on May 4, 2011, which indicated that coconut insects used as calorie ingredient are not harmful. While Brunei, it is unlawful to eat the carcasses of insects other than grasshoppers, as well as components obtained from the insect, such as insect dust. This is due to the fact that all portions of the carcass are deemed filthy. So even if an animal carcass does not bleed, it is filthy, just bones and horns. Food coloring on the subject of coconut dyes. The use of coconut dye in food, beverages and consumables is considered safe and is legal in both Malaysia and Indonesia. Coconut dyes, on the other hand, are prohibited in Brunei because they are considered filthy and may cause harm if consumed. Next, let's proceed another topic, which is purified water. The advancement of technology nowadays gives a huge impact on human well-being. One of it is the use of wastewater treatment technology to remove contaminant and convert it into effluents that can be reused for various purposes, such as for agriculture and also as new source of energy. The new water in Malaysia, one of the approaches taken to prevent water pollution is to treat wastewater before it is discharged back into the river. There are also sewage products that are produced after going through the treatment process. The related legal maxim about this issue is al-yakin la yazulu bi-shak, which is certainty cannot be abrogated by doubt. If there is any uncertainty about the water, it is still clean and may be used for ablution and other purposes. The rationale for this is that the initial ruling of water purity will stand until it is demonstrated that najis has changed the water characteristics, such as when a responsible individual has reported the water has changed due to najis. There is a fatwa in this purified water. In Malaysia, view of the Muzakarah of the Fatwa Committee of the National Council based on the result of the Muzakarah of the Fatwa Committee of the National Council for Islamic Regional Affairs Malaysia at the conference on 27 November 2002 regarding the use of new water. Muzakarah has decided that new water is clean and should be used by term Islamic law. While Singapore, water that has been treated by distillation is deemed clean and purifying water. According to the Fatwa Committee of the Islamic Religious Council of Singapore, new water is pure and clean, and it belongs to the category of absolute water, which is pure and purifying. And the Indonesia Ulama Council will issue a fatwa on recycled water. Recycled water means water that is processed from water that has been used exposed to phases or that has changed one of its properties, namely taste, color and smell, so that it can be reused. The law of recycled water is pure and purifying as long as it processed in accordance with the provision of Afiqah. As a summary, when it is possible to ensure the disappearance of all elements of phases and dirt in the water, then the water is purified and can be reused.
Next, we continue for the gelatin. It is a tasteless, solid, transparent or semi-transparent material that forms mainly from collagen in the flesh, skin and animals' bones, which widely being used as a stabilizer or thickening agent. Hakim has stated gelatin also is one of the critical ingredients. In 1984, Muzakarah of the Fatwa Committee of the National Council for Islamic Religions in Malaysia had discussed the usage of the gelatin in the medicine are permissible and necessary because at the time there was still not have ingredient that could help to extend the shelf life of the medicine. However, Committee of Investigation for Ingredients and Consumptions of Muslim had been decided the status of the gelatin is doubtful due to the ingredient might be sourced from pigs or bovine, especially the gelatin that is produced from another country which has limitation information regarding the source origin of the gelatin. Azina Mahmoud has stated the source of the gelatin can be obtained from halal, non-halal or even the halal status is doubtful. If the gelatin is made from halal animals, the animals has to follow the slaughtering method according to the Sharia law to ensure the animals is permissible to be consumed. Darul Al-Ifta Al-Misriyah had discussed the ruling on eating products made out of gelatin. It is lawful to consume foods that are derived from slaughtered animals and prohibited if derived from pigs or unslaughtered animals. Also, Dr. Yusuf Al-Qardawi and Tahir Al-Mahdi Al-Balali also support the gelatin are purified. In 2020, Mufti of Federal Territory had mentioned Hakim had forbid the gelatin from non-halal sources used in the food products labeled as halal. Next, the issue of gelatin, which the hukum of working as a baker in a cake store using gelatin is non-halal. Regarding the issue, Mufti of Federal Territory had stated, it is not only forbidden for the Muslim to act any actions that are against Sharia law, but any actions which are abetted are also prohibited. Moreover, the action of using non-halal gelatin in the food is prohibited, although it is prepared for non-Muslim consumers. Then, the action of working with the non-halal ingredients is haram, which it categorizes as the abetted. The usage of gelatin from halal animal or fish sources is permissible, while the gelatin from non-halal sources is prohibited by the National Fatwa Council for Islamic Religious Affairs Malaysia. Furthermore, regarding the issue, working as a baker in a cake store that uses non-halal gelatin is also prohibited.
Lastly, to summarize all of the issue that has been discussed in this video, can be seen that several fatwa committee have the same opinion, but there are also several different opinions on certain matters. As a recommendation, we as Muslim must pay attention on the permissibility and the prohibition of food and beverages that we consume. In the Al-Quran itself has provided many verses on the food and beverages that is prohibited and permissible for consumption, and this is further filtered by the Fatwa Committee on each country. Thus, what's left is for Muslims to follow those rulings and fatwas and implement them in daily life. Muslims must also be careful on what they consume and must be wise in making decisions regarding this matter. That's all from us. Thank you for listening and watching until the end of our video.